Rich Tarani here with TMC. We are at Wearable Tech Expo 2014, Jacob Javits Center, New York, New York. On the program, Kevin Logan. He is with Bodybiolytics. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about the company. What do you guys do?
Well, we're a new company, actually a startup. I have another company that's been in business for about 32 years. We've done a lot of work in pattern recognition and artificial intelligence and machine learning. We ended up winning a contest, the technology challenge for Under Armour in activity recognition. So that caused me to look at the space of wearables and how it's growing, and decided to throw a hat in the ring with a new startup called Bodybiolytics. And what we're going to offer is activity recognition engines that would work behind the scenes for a lot of these wearable devices who are tracking accelerometer data but may lack the expertise in pattern recognition and machine learning to analyze it properly. So without that missing piece of what the wearer is doing, it's difficult to correlate heart rate information and other physiological data without knowing what they're doing.
So the concept there is to take a tremendous amount of raw data, which with all the sensors and the machine-to-machine technology, Internet of Things, wearable, and try to digest it in a form that's usable.
Yes. What I see happening in this developing space of wearables is you're going to see a convergence. A lot of the wearables are already collecting the same data. 5 years from now, they're all going to be collecting the same data. So really the differentiator is going to be how you analyze that data. And that's really where we're going to come on with intelligent activity recognition algorithms that can slice and dice the data and tell what you're doing, not just for sports and fitness, but also for elderly monitoring, for example. Is my mother active, and what has she been doing all day? Can I get an alert if she's inactive? If there's something problem, if her accelerometry is flatline, she's just falling on the ground, I want to know about it, and other people need to get there quickly. So there's other applications besides sports fitness, is what we're talking about here today, but we see obesity as another application, trying to get people active and tell them, correlate what they're doing with what their calorie burn is, what their heart rate's doing, and that kind of stuff.
Kind of just letting them know, for example, that they might have had a calorie deficit at the end of the day, or they're heading towards a calorie deficit.
Sure. But without knowing a base of what they're doing, it's tough to say, am I burning, am I conditioning? Am I getting better? Am I improving? So that's really what we hope to do is to sell access to our algorithms through application programming interfaces over the cloud at a very low cost. And that's what I'm doing here, is trying to scout out what's the state of the market, where's it going to go, who needs what.
So I'm a developer. I now basically can hook into your algorithms and be the interface between massive amounts of data and some kind of cool GUI display that could be used, for example, by a coach to see which of his team members are more efficient, or even be able to track them. And let's say it's not as serious of a sport where they take off in the summer, but being able to track what the students are doing or the players are doing in the summer.
Right. So there's lots of applications that you can think of, and lots of applications that are going to be coming down the pike. We're not an application developer. We don't want to be an application developer. We're AI type people. We're analytical gurus, and we want to work behind this. We want algorithms working behind the scenes to provide the answer to you. What activity? You take an activity ID, and then you do your magic with your application to correlate it with heart rate, to correlate with calorie burn, to put up some fancy graphics, GUIs, whatever you want to do with it.
So another one I can think of is a lot of times people will tweet out, especially like someone who's known for being physically fit and also famous, maybe like The Rock. He'll tweet out his diet, he'll tweet out his workout. And so now what he could theoretically do is wear one of these activity trackers and have that information out there, and you could compare what you're doing to what he is doing. So it's kind of like a way to take it to the next level, right?
Yeah, social motivation type of thing. But what I'm seeing right now, I've actually read several reports that you can get off the internet that guys have gone out and they've strapped 4 wearables on their arm, and they've gone out and done their exercise regimen. They come back and they get 4 drastically different results. So the accuracy level in tracking, and this is just simple tracking of step counts. We're talking about tracking. What we did with Under Armour is actually classify typical weight training exercise in the gym: curls, push-ups, lateral raises, that kind of stuff. We take it to the next step and look at all your activities throughout the whole day. You get out of bed, even your sleep patterns, but you get out of bed, you have a routine. Aunt Mildred has the same kind of thing. She goes to the coffee pot, she goes out to get some newspapers, she sits. If we can start to sequence these activities, now we can look at behaviors. And if we have a baseline of what normal behavior is, now we're able to detect when abnormalities occur in behaviors. And those might be triggers to call in next to kin or next to, whatever the immediate caregiver is to the elderly person, or the ambulance even.
So really, I mean, there are so many applications. There are dozens just from this brief conversation of potential applications, and some of these applications could be multi-million-dollar, potential billion-dollar blockbusters for the developers out there if they just take the information that's readily available, they plug it into the algorithms, and they figure out how to display it to the user.
Yep. What we see right now, we're looking at about 300 connected users today with wearables, ramping up to 700 to 800 million in 3 years.
When you say 300, you mean 300 million?
300 million. I'm sorry. Ramping up to 700 to 800 million in 3 years, 2017. Now, if you're a young company and you want to get there quicker, you want to get to market quicker with your product, we're trying to offer you one way to do that. Just instead of trying to replicate 30 years of research we've been doing in pattern recognition and artificial intelligence, call our APIs for a fraction of what you'd pay to develop it yourselves.
Thanks so much for your time. This was great.
Thank you.